So Matt, I'm curious. Like, what got you all into cigars?
So, as Chief Warrant Officer Navarrete when I was in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
So, I was 18, 19 years old. So his pitch to us: listen, you come back from this mission, you come safe and sound, no mishaps. Everybody can have a cigar.
So it's a celebratory type.
Celebratory, correct.
Now, were you like most of us? First time you pulled on it, did you pull too hard?
Of course, because I'm from Chicago. You know, puff, give. Right now, I completely inhaled it, man. I always say when anybody smokes a cigar for the very first time, you can tell where they grew up or how they grew up based on they draw on the cigar for the first time. Mm-hmm. And so he gave us a cigar. Like, we didn't know the brand. And so when he got backstage, I got the Marine Corps, went backstage side, and went to the cigar lounge and looked at the cigars that he was getting us. And I found out they're all Padrones.
I like him already. That's
right up his alley.
I love Padrones.
Right? Padrones. I'm like, oh my God. He was giving us the 25 in Chicago. It's $25, $26 a stick.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't skipping on us. And so there was a cigar event because a lot of cigar lounges have events, and the Padrone brothers came up to do the event. I bought a box. Adam signed, autographed the box.
Wow.
And I mailed it back to him to Afghanistan.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like, he sent me a message. I've never got a present like this. It's so freaking awesome. And he got out, and that's when he smoked. So he like what do you call that? Seasoned it or marinated it for like 4 or 5 years before he actually smoked it.
Hey Visionaries, Chris right here with Royal Realty Group, brokered by eXp Realty. Buying and selling a home can be a stressful process, but we are here to help you throughout the way. Feel free to reach out to us on all social media platforms at Royal Realty Group TX. Now enjoy the show with Cuff and Mo.
What about you? How'd you get involved in cigars?
I don't say the word like fell into it, but I did see it as a form of like celebration. I think the first cigar I smoked was between my senior year of high school and going to college, and I think I looked at it from a standpoint of like, okay, you quote unquote accomplished something, and like you're about to start the next chapter of your life. And I saw something about celebratory cigars, and that's what led me to my first one.
Bro,
What?
Senior year in high school?
Between my senior year in high school and my freshman year of college. Like
Man,
that summer.
That's impressive.
That summer. I mean, it wasn't like I was smoking them every day. Like,
I'm just saying, like, even like, that would have been what? Like 03, 04? 02? Yeah. Man, I think my first cigar, not counting Black and Milds, I'd smoked Black and Mild. Like,
you don't discriminate.
Like they were going out of, well, the sweet didn't have the tobacco in it back then, at least, but God, I think my first cigar would have been probably 10 years ago ish.
Okay.
And it was happenstance. Like, okay, me, I will try anything for the first time. Like, I've got no qualms about it. And then I think over time, time had elapsed. And then I was like, you know what? Because my wife was like, cigars are sophisticated. You know what I mean? And I always remember her saying that. And I was like, well, I want to be sophisticated. So I started with a Drew Estate Java coffee, or I guess it was called latte.
Yeah.
Flat.
It's a good lady cigar.
It's a box press. Like, that was my first cigar, and been rocking ever since. So I'm super excited. Glad to have you.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, and we get a chance to smoke together too, so that's really dope.
It's the best. I mean, it's the first podcast. I've done a lot of interviews. First time I've done an interview with a cigar.
Hey, shout out to Ivan for getting this thing set up, man. Yeah. We talked via social media, and I asked him when I talked to him on the phone, I was like, does Matt smoke? He was like, yeah. Okay. I was like, we're going to make this happen. Let's go.
So, welcome back to the Vision Lab podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Cuffey, alongside my co-host, Mr. Ryan Mosley. Yo, we got a jam-packed show for you guys today. So, Visionaries, make sure you like, you tune in, you subscribe, all that stuff, share it. Mo, what we got going today?
Cuff, today's guest is a native of Chicago, Illinois. He is a veteran of the U.S. Marine Corps. Thank you for your service, sir.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, I appreciate
Yes, thank you, sir.
He is the author of this book that we are going to discuss today, Faith-Made Millionaire. Excuse me. He is the face of the 7-Figure Squad on all platforms. You've seen on Instagram, TikTok, a whole bunch of different things. We're going to talk about it. Please welcome Matt Sapaula to the TheVisionLab podcast.
Hey, great to be here, man. What up?
Thank you, sir.
What up?
Appreciate
What up?
it.
Good morning.
Hey, again, thank you to Ivan. You got a good one. Keep him around. Ivan has been very instrumental in making sure that this happens, and we're definitely looking forward to it. So, you and I have been, chopping it up before we kind of hit the record button, right? And we're gonna go a lot of different directions. But you sparked my interest in regards to like your thought process on entrepreneurism and being financially free and all that good stuff. Why the term on the book, Faith-Made Millionaire? Like, it's got to start somewhere. And obviously, faith is front and center. So why?
It's a reflection of my process getting to becoming a first-generation cash flow millionaire. There's net worth millionaires, there's paper millionaires, there's lucky millionaires, there's CEO millionaires, there's athlete millionaires. But I'm a kid from Chicago, immigrant parents from the Philippines. And if I'm asking myself how I got here, and I'm documenting and putting in a book, you've heard of the term self-made.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a self-made man. I'm self-made. It's all about self. Me. I get it. And kudos. Give them their flowers. Then you've heard the better guys that say, you know what? I'm not here because my team helped me get here. So I'm a team-made millionaire. And so, right? So that's the next level of person that gives those flowers, not to himself, but to their
Those
team. Those around him. And then, for me, I look back on it and say, you know what? I don't deserve to be here. I don't know how I got here, but the good man upstairs must have something in his cards for me to live a life of purpose, of fulfillment, of happiness and joy, and all the credit goes to him. And I say, I'm made by faith, because there's times where I couldn't pay the bills. There's times where I was a single father to 3 kids. There's times there where in the dead winter of Chicago, it's negative 20 degrees outside, and we're walking to the train station. My kid's like, I'm cold, I'm hungry, and I'm like, I'm broke. How do I feed you? And it was only through faith that credit card went through at Jimmy John's, $12, and it's only through faith that I said, let me pick up this phone instead of being bitter. Let me get better. It's only through faith I said, you know what? I know there's purpose. There's, in Proverbs says, lean not on your own understanding. Trust him in all your ways, and he will make your path straight. And so it's through that faith that I found a deeper connection through why I'm here to begin with. They say the 2 greatest days of a man's life is the day he was born. And the second day is the reason why he was born, when he finds out.
You said Jimmy John's, and so instantly to me, Jimmy John's hadn't been around that long, right? So that tells me that you were going through this with your 3 kids not a long time ago. As a father, we're all fathers. What is that like? And you should be able to tap back into that experience, because it should be relatively fresh, right?
Yeah.
Like, talk to our visionaries about what that's like to be on that end of the stick where you can't provide, or you're for your kids the way that you want to, or you're praying to God that this credit card goes through just for $12.90. Can you kind of talk about that?
Yeah, the introduction of my book, here's how it starts. In 1 year, I got married, had a kid, got divorced, filed bankruptcy, all in 1 year.
Woo.
Most people do that in 5 years. Most people do it in 10, 15, 20 years. I decided,
in 12 months.
It's just a fast track program.
Yes. Success, low speed.
The accelerated version.
Just knock it out.
Wow. Married, had a kid, divorced, bankruptcy.
Yep.
Only thing you could have done is quit a job.
It's it. So, and I was still in the Marine Corps. It was my last year in the Marines.
And there it is.
And in the Marines, if you have financial difficulties, that's a write-up, because it takes away from the morale of leading your men. So I had matter of fact, we just had Thanksgiving weekend, and my first check from my master sergeant about money was over Thanksgiving weekend, because we just came back from the deployment, and they were like, all right, Marines, Thanksgiving's coming up. Who needs help financially? Who needs turkey? Who needs ham? Who needs whatever? I said, I need help, man. I just got married. I got a kid. All right, so Paul, we're going to help you out. Boom. Come to my house in base housing, Marine Corps Air Station El Toro in Southern California. And he drops off a box of food. He says, Marine, when you're done, put this in your refrigerator. When you're done, come outside and meet me in your driveway. All right, Master Sergeant. I go outside. He says, hey, Sapaula, what's this? And he points to my car. It's a brand new Chrysler Cirrus. Before it was a 300. It was a Cirrus, C-I-R-R-U-S, Cirrus. It was a bad car, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a new car. Well, how the hell you have a brand new car and you're asking for help with food? Where's your damn priorities?
Yes, sir.
I'm like, well, doesn't every Marine come back from deployment by a car? So because of lack of financial literacy, financial education, and I just kind of did what everybody else did.
Real quick, how old are you at this point?
I'm 21.
Okay.
21. So 21, just turned 22. It was so I'm an October baby, so it's Thanksgiving. So so I was 22 a month after my 22nd birthday. And so I said, Master Sergeant, who can help me with my finances, man? Because every time I pay my credit cards, I've got like $5 left. You know the term paycheck to paycheck?
Yeah.
I'm like paycheck to 10 minutes.
Oh.
Woo.
So I had more month than money. And so and so that innovation got me to, okay, so how do I make extra cash? I learned how to cut hair, Marine Corps style, flat tops, high fades, medium fades, all that stuff. And then I said, let me get a job. Let me work at that G Fluid, out the back gate of the base, and let me work at the G Fluid because my neighbor is a assistant manager, and so I made some extra cash while I was stateside before I got deployed again. But that was my dilemma.
So, but now let's fast forward. Married, divorced, married, kid, divorce,
Bankruptcy.
Uh-huh. You got, couple dollars to your name, and your kid's like, hey, I'm cold in Chicago.
Yep.
Like, what is that feeling? What does that feel like as a man, as a father?
Oh, I mean, it makes you feel so weak, man. It's like you're supposed to be a provider, protector.
Yeah.
And I'm barely making it. So when I was praying that credit card went through, because I just got the sandwich and the chips, I said, just give me a cup of water. I couldn't even get the whole full meal deal, right? Couldn't get the soda, whatever. I said, give me a cup of water. Oh, thank goodness the credit card went through. I remember sitting down with the Jimmy John sandwich, my 3 kids staring at me, warming up. I take one bite of the sandwich, split that thing like communion bread. Said, here's yours. I'm going to go hungry, but you guys are going to eat. I just had one bite. I had one bite all day. I'm like, this is the last time this is going to happen, man.
Wow.
Most humiliating feeling for a man to be a provider. At that time, to be a veteran, to be a United States Marine, humiliating feeling. What the hell are you doing with your life? Get your shit together.
How old were you about this time?
Yeah, I was 20, and now I think I was 24. Yeah, I was 24, 25.
So we were talking, right? And, you and I agree on, financial freedom, banking. We'll talk about all this stuff, right? Can you please tell the visionaries what you told me in regards to, hey, how quickly can I get paid? Somebody said, hey, you want to make money? Like, can you tell that story, please?
Yeah, so how I got recruited into the financial services industry was a retired master sergeant. He bumps in, I bump into him. Okay, real funny story though. Where did I bump into him? I bumped into him in a bathroom of a Best Buy.
Oh, wow.
So now, Jance, let me ask you a question. If you're in a bathroom with some strange dude, are you striking up a conversation?
No.
Exactly. Unanimously. You learned that in kindergarten, right?
That and don't look down.
Or look across and down. And so he strikes up a conversation. He's like, hey, excuse me, are you a Marine? I'm like, yep. He says, yeah, I could tell by the way you walk. I'm like, oh, no, this is not good, man. Now he's checking me out. And so, no, don't get me wrong. So he holds up his planner. This is a Franklin Covey planner.
Were y'all out of the urinal by this point?
I was out of the
Okay,
I was
cool.
finally walking out. I was there with my boys. He says, no, don't get me wrong. I'm a retired master sergeant. He shows his Franklin Covey planner with the Marine Corps logo on it. Eagle, globe, and anchor. That's our emblem. He says, I'm a retired master sergeant, so let me ask you a question. So what are you gonna do with your career? You gonna stay in? I'm like, yeah, man, I'm gonna be a lifer. Now the backstory is, the unit told me I could not re-enlist because I'm a single dad. Because I was a part of a deployable unit. It was the 15 Marine Expeditionary Unit, Special Ops Unit, and if we needed to go, they can't worry about my child care. You go. We can't have Marines waiting around. Well, I can't go because I need child care. No, you need to find somewhere with a responsibility for your kids.
Right.
And the only person that I could think about responsibility for my kids was my ex. I just spent $5,000 getting divorced, which is, to me at the time was a whole lot of money, whole life savings, because I'm making $20,000 a year as a sergeant in the Marines. And so anyway, make a long story short, he asked me a question. I said, hey, listen, man, I don't know what you want to do with your career, but do you like money? I'm like, yeah. So like a lot of money? I'm like, absolutely. So if you like a lot of money, you must know the rules then, right? What you talk about? You know the rules about winning the money game. I said, well, I got a job in the Marine Corps. He said, no, anybody can get a job. Do you know how to make money work for you? Do you know how to create money outside of clocking in and clocking out? I said, I don't. So you really don't like money. You should study it. But if I help you out, gives me a business card. If I help you out, I get you a foot in the door, would you take it seriously? I said, absolutely. Now, for 90 days, I kept that business card in my pocket because every day I had that business card in my uniform breast pocket. I talked myself out of it. I'm like, I don't have a college degree. I don't have a sales background. I don't know anything about insurance. I don't know anything about stock market. I don't know anything about mutual funds. I don't know nothing about it. I just filed bankruptcy 2 years ago. And he's like, anyway, I get a call on the base. Hey, Sapaula, you got a call. From who? I don't know. I pick up the phone. Sergeant Sapaula speaking. How may I help you, sir or ma'am? Hey, is this the Marine I met in the bathroom of a Best Buy?
Oh, wow.
I'm like, right away, I'm like, thank God you called me. Because I didn't have the courage to call him.
Wow.
And power of follow-up, right? And he didn't realize. He just recruited himself a beast. Because make a long story short, I know we're going to know each other, but make a long story short, I've built an $82 million company. And too bad, by the way, too bad this guy quit, though. But he kicked the door open for me to get in. And with that, I took it, I ran with it, and changed my life.
Okay, so I normally ask this question a little bit further into the show, but you just, kind of gave us the fast track of it, right? But you go from bankruptcy to building an $82 million company, right? But at what point along the journey will you realize, oh, Matt, this is going to work? Like from what you just came from, when do you realize, okay, I'm really on to something?
My first commission check.
Really?
Yeah, first commission check. I'm going to wow you with it, right? My first commission check from insurance was $450. I'm like, I'm onto something, baby. Because here's why. My checks in the Marine Corps was $850, $900 every 2 weeks. With one sale, I made half my paycheck.
And one deal.
And I said, man, if I spend more time with this thing, I can meet my full-time income on a part-time basis. Let me see if I can really do this on a full-time basis. Now, what I did lack early in my sales career was consistency. So I make a lot of money, celebrate too long,
get fat,
crash
happy
next month, right? Because you think that's coming in, month in, month out. But I figured this stuff out. It took me 4 or 5 years to get the right rhythm. Why? Because I wasn't smart enough to have a mentor. And we're talking about 04, 03, 04. There was no YouTube. There was no TheVisionLab podcast.
Hey.
There ain't no podcast.
Yeah.
Right? There's no YouTube university.
The information is not as freely accessible as it is now.
Correct. And so I applaud what you guys are doing because you're making this conversation accessible to a multicultural demographic that deserves this conversation because it's definitely not being taught in schools.
I'm curious if we can go back to the bathroom
Okay.
of Best Buy. And you guys have come out at this point. He shows you his flag. What do you think he saw in you that made him even bring up, hey, how much do you know about, financial literacy?
I think he saw in me what I see right now when I'm recruiting. When I'm seeing a young 20-year-old that is struggling, he's got desire, he's got commitment, he's got work ethic, he wants to be somebody, is willing to go against the grain, is willing to do what it takes to provide for his family. I think that's what he saw. Because in the Marine Corps, it's the hardest boot camp of all the branches of service, and when you're part of a deployable unit, you're part of the 15 Marine Expeditionary Unit, you kind of separate yourself from everybody else. So I think he knew that, and him knowing other Marines. Hey, if I can teach this guy skill, because when I'm recruiting, when I'm attracting people to our company, the same way he attracted me to his firm, is the first thing on the checklist is, does this guy have character? When it's time to show up, does he show up? When he says something, does he follow through with his word? Does he honor his commitments? Is he somebody that we can trust? Is he somebody we can depend on? There's 13 Marine Corps leadership traits. So here's how Marine thinks. Does this guy embody the 13 leadership traits, not just by speaking it, by actually living it? And so I think he saw that. And when I showed up, I mean, I didn't have a suit. I mean, I'd you know, dirty
start
elbows.
somewhere, though.
Dirty elbows, but, you know, I just had maybe at best some khakis, you know, a golf shirt, polo, right? And that's all I had. And as soon as I saw the world outside the Marine Corps, because I think in Orange County, we're doing our mission, our train missions are there. It's the Marine Corps Playground, Camp Pendleton, Marine Corps Air Station, El Toro, and Tustin. It's the Marine Corps Playground. That's basically our where we hone our skills to deploy. And we're flying all over rich neighborhoods. We're flying over Dana Point. We're flying over Newport Beach.
Get a chance to see it.
Oh yeah, I'm like, what are these guys doing?
Right.
I mean, if you fly over Orange County, and the next time you fly into Orange County Airport, look down to see how many homes have a pool in the back.
All of them.
Exactly. Like, what is going on here? Like, I need to figure out this money game. There was a mall there, in what is it? It's off of Harbor. Can't remember the mall, Costa Mesa, and that's the first time I saw a mall with valet service.
Wow. Wow.
It's like I say, I'm used to the ghetto malls, but I saw a mall where they valet your car. I'm like, I never saw a mall like this. People are here are rich.
So you just said a buzzword for me in particular, and will hinge on the gentleman that you met, the money game. He asked you if you knew about money, right? And then you just mentioned the word, or you mentioned the phrase money game. What is the money game?
The money game is, you know, assets, liabilities, income, expenses. It's compound interest. It's risk management. It's debt management. It's cash flow. To me, the most important thing in money game is cash flow. Because if you don't have any chips to play, you ain't playing the game.
Oh,
right.
And a lot of people, I want to tap into this, right? Because a lot of people make money, and shout out to my father-in-law. He taught me this years ago. It's not what you make, it's what you do with what you make.
Yeah.
You know, and I think with the growth of social media, with the growth of video, people understand that I gotta do something with this money.
Yeah.
Right? Now we may not know which vehicle to put our money in, to invest in, etc., whether it's real estate, crypto, stocks, bonds, mutual funds,
Land.
Right.
Yeah.
So you get this bug that's kind of planted, right?
Uh-huh.
And you get exposed. And Mo will tell you, I'm all about the 3 E's, you know, environment, experience, and exposure. But you get exposed to this, and then you start to execute. But how do we know what the right vehicle is for us? How do we know, where do we put our chips?
how do you
In other
find your
words,
niche? That's what you're asking.
Yeah, I think for me, I wish I could say there was a strategy for me to find that niche. I just fell into it.
Uh-huh.
And so I can't say that I initially really loved insurance. To me, it was a job. Like, you know, before we hit record, I was talking about, okay, now I got my insurance license, but I also was intrigued about real estate and mortgages. So outside the base was the insurance office. Also to the left of the base was Ocean West Funding, which was a mortgage operation.
Okay.
And so I asked the mortgage guy, I said, listen, if I sell something today, okay, I'm out of a military paycheck for the first time in 8 years, you know, where I got paid every 1st and 15th of every month, no matter what, no matter how hard I worked or how little I worked, I get the same paycheck on the 1st and 15th. That's about to be cut off because I'm getting out. So if I sell a mortgage today, when will you pay me? He says, well, if you have a client today, documentation in today, clear to close in 30, 45 days, and then we'll fund it, right? I said, oh, okay. But today, though, and like I don't have a prospect. I have zero in my pipeline. I went to the insurance guy. I said, if I sell a policy today, when will you pay me? Well, if they're approved, then they'll get paid next week. I'm like, okay.
Easy money.
Yeah, right. So I'm like, and then I'm thinking to myself, well, there's more people I can talk to sell insurance to versus me trying to go get a refi. But I know one guy, he's got a $90,000 condo. Let me see if I can get him to refinance condo with me. And like 4 days later, he said, okay, I'll refinance with you. It's your first deal. Nope, I need to drop my interest rate anyway and save money on cash flow.
About what time? Circa what year?
99.
99.
So it was a high, bull market.
Okay.
Everything was going great.
Yeah.
Everything was going great. And so on the flip side, everything on the insurance side, and I got Series 6 and Series 663 license too as well.
Good for
on
you.
On top of life and health. and everything in mutual funds was going great too. I had Janus Growth Fund, Van Camp Emerging Growth, Alger Aggressive.
Yeah.
I can still remember these mutual funds. And I just closed my eyes like this. It's like a mutual fund debt board. Psh, okay, 50% return. Psh, same 5%. Psh, right, 100% return. Like, oh, I'm good at this stuff, man. That's the bull market. Sometimes when the economy is going great, you think you're going great, and you're really not doing a lot of work. And then anyway, back to the story of insurance and mortgage. By the time I closed my first commission sale in mortgage, I had sold like 10, 12 insurance policies.
Writings on the wall.
Writings on the wall. And it was more consistent because what I found out with the mortgage commission is I make a lot of money and I just have to pay back my expenses for the last 30, 45 days from holding my breath.
Yeah.
Where the insurance, boom, week. As long as I had a deal, they're underwritten and approved, I got a commission check in insurance. So to answer your question, the best investment that I found was investing in me.
Yes.
The skill set.
Yes, sir.
Finding that skill set. So if the foundation is character, the next one is hard skills.
So I wanna a lot of shows, a lot of people will hear the audio, they'll see the message, character, right? That's one thing. And I think we all like comprehend and we get that. But when you're down and out, you don't have a lot, and your character is truly, truly tried. You know what I mean? Like, I got to sell this policy, or we don't eat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is the definition of character in its truest sense. Like, how are you navigating those waters?
So the character set in making a sale, especially in 100% commission sales,
Yeah.
where you're just starting your first business.
Yeah. So I got to sell. I got to make this policy. I got to sell this, right?
Yeah. First question that's got to come out your mind is this the right thing for the client?
Yeah.
That's character.
Yeah.
Or is it the right thing for me?
Yeah.
And that's selfish.
Yeah.
But
you don't have nothing to eat.
I know, but I'd regret long term making that sale because I'd probably make it haphazardly, not in the best interest of the client. And then 6 months later, man, why'd you sell me that policy? Why'd you sell me this particular mutual fund or investment? It wasn't the right thing for me. Oh, that was a house payment to you. That was a car payment to you.
Wow.
So instead of thinking relationally, I was thinking transactionally.
Yeah.
Short-term things transactional, long-term things relationship.
So you had this this mindset shift, right? Like it's not about me, despite my upbringing, despite my current situation, despite where my future may be. I got to do right by this prospect, by the client.
Right.
That's character.
Yeah, because the best type of businesses grow by word of mouth, not by ads, not by social media marketing, not by knocking on doors, not by mailers in 5 zip codes. It's, hey man, who do you know? Who do you know? And people start talking about you.
So he mentioned a very, very important concept that all three of us believe in, and I'm going to pivot to that. But before I do that, allow me to say thank you to the folks at Blowing Smoke Cigar Lounge, Edwina, Jacoby, the entire staff there. Congrats again on the anniversary. Visionaries, check out this commercial real quick.
Hey everyone, Edwina Brown here, owner-operator of Blowing Smoke Cigar Lounge. We're located at 1604 North Interstate 35E in Lancaster, Texas. We would love for you to come see us. We stand on the 3 C's, which are cigars, our community, and our culture. Cigars, we have over 300 SKUs in our humidor, and it's still growing. Come check it out, a massive humidor. We also love our culture here, which we're about customer service, as well as community, which is why we're excited to partner with the TheVisionLab podcast. So come check us out.
Hey, again, a big shout out to Edwina and Jacoby over at Blowing Smoke. We got a lot of love for you guys. Again, big ups to you guys. 4 years in the game and many more. As we break into 2023, I hope everybody, if you come into the DFW Metroplex, make sure you stop by there and support their humidor. Also, I want to give a major shout out to OG, as we call him, Jeff Davis, that astute gentleman. Cigar and barbershop
cigar right now.
Yeah. And we're here.
Yeah.
What's your experience?
I bought a brick.
Wow.
I bought a brick.
He bought a brick.
I'm about to, it's about support. Every time I come into a cigar lounge, I ask, do you have your own blend?
Yeah.
Because I want to support the home team.
So let me tell you something, and Jeff will tell you a lot. I don't buy a lot of house blends unless it's coming from a student gentleman. So like their house blend for me, in particular, like I rock with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I love his house blends. He's got a great humidor. It's a chance to come in, sit back, have a drink. He will give you whatever drink you want. You can get a haircut.
Yeah, my son's getting a haircut right now, man. He's in a chair.
Oh, your son's over there.
Yeah.
Okay,
He's
that's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up. So let's get back to it, Mo.
Yeah. You mentioned this novel concept, relational versus transactional, and we're all three, in business in different formats and whatnot. Can you explain from your perspective, or can you give your thoughts? There we go. Can you give your thoughts from a perspective? How important is it to be relational versus transactional?
It's. Are you thinking short term or are you thinking long term? It's as simple as that. Because, if you're thinking short term, for example, a lot of people got invested deeply. A lot of their net worth or liquid assets were thrown into crypto and NFTs. Right? They're looking for that quick money, man. Quick money. There's a proverb that says something along the lines of, listen, money that made by quick, is here for doom. But a man that works hard for his money, and works it slowly, he stands to gain. Warren Buffett was asked, how come more people don't listen to you? I mean, the Oracle of Omaha.
Right.
In 1956, his net worth was $156,000. Today, it's $60 billion, $80 billion. Why? Because he's thinking long term. Yeah.
It's a hard concept. Because
2 years ago, Warren Buffett was into Charlie Munger. Oh, you're old man. You don't even relate to crypto and Bitcoin. Yeah, but we know fundamentals. We know principles. We know long term.
Yeah. So you study those guys.
Yeah.
And it's hard because I want to be real on this show, and you know that, Mo, right? Like, so a lot of people will look up at the Warren Buffetts, the Jay-Z's, the LeBrons of the world,
people like
the
that.
Bezos. Like, man, they got B's attached to their name. You understand what I'm saying? Like, but for the everyday guy that's from Chicago, from the down to earth sister that's from Dallas, you know what I'm saying? I'm making $60,000. I'm making it work, but I want to tap into like the fundamental principles that the billionaires with the B that they've executed on, not only relentlessly but repeatedly, right? It is a slow and steady process, and we live in this microwave society where, you put your money in, 30 seconds later it's double, tripled, quadrupled, or whatever it is, right? But that's not sustainable. So I think a lot of times people struggle with access to information, and that's kind of what we talked about a little bit earlier, right? But like you see this through social media, you see this on Instagram, on YouTube, Facebook, etc. And it's like, hey, if you do this, then you're gonna make 10x your money. But it's not always that way. And I think we've been in this bubble for the last
people
five to 10 years.
People see the sexy part, and like you said,
right? It's
like
the work. You got to put the work in
of it. And I think we're probably all in agreement. There unfortunately there is a microwave,
but it's not though. It's not. It's not. And the sustainable part, which is what I want you to talk about, is it's repetitive action, repetitive execution. Can you talk about, hey, listen, yes, you had 3 kids and y'all split a Jimmy John's sandwich and you couldn't even afford the drink that comes along with it, right? It was a sub sandwich and sandwiches. But can you talk about, hey, listen, it's a process? Because what I'm hearing from you is, I'm not going to sacrifice my prospect or my client's well-being for a short-term gain.
Yeah. I'll tell you one mistake I made thinking short-term. One time in Chicago, there was we're being real on the show, right? I wanted to get on media. And before there was podcasts, there was AM, FM radio, terrestrial, just regular terrestrial AM, FM station. And this is '08, in the middle of the Great Recession. It was going down.
Yeah.
And so this radio show reaches out to me and says, hey, we have a 2-hour show, WLS 890, from 9 to 11 a.m. on Saturday. We want you to provide the financial commentary. So provide commentary from a financial aspect, but also we want you to talk about self-driven IRAs. So in other words, instead of using traditional stocks, bonds, and mutual funds inside an IRA, you can use that with real estate. Of course, certain custodians will allow that to happen. So you can roll over your 401k into this thing, and then you can assign whatever investment you want. So I was asking these guys. I said, how long you guys had the show? 6 months. And I was watching these guys, and they said, we'll pay you $2,000 a month to be on the show. Okay, no problem. I want the access. I want the exposure. Okay, but I didn't do due diligence on these hosts. Okay, and so 4, 5, 6 months into the shows, these guys were buying brand new clothes. The tailor was at the office, tailoring up clothes all the time. They were smoking the fanciest cigars. They were driving the newest cars. I'm like, no, these guys are rolling in real estate. Right? Says because I was thinking, 3-4 years ago, I should get involved in real estate and do mortgages again outside of just your steady Eddie insurance. And I was checking these guys out. And next thing I asked them a question. I said, how many of these deals have you done, man? You guys are doing well. It's like, dude, we're about to close our first one. How are you guys smoking the finest cigars and getting the finest suits and driving the latest AMGs? You didn't close your first deal yet. Who's paying for all this? You know what was happening? They're scheming their listeners on that radio station. Make a long story short, I get a lawsuit.
Wow.
Yeah, I got a lawsuit. Everybody on that show got a lawsuit.
Wow.
Because people weren't getting the return on their investment deals.
Oh, wow.
Well, for Wall Street over here.
Yep. And so I had to show up in court. I had an attorney. I showed my bank accounts. I said, I didn't take a dime from these guys. I just completely, I have transparency. Blah,
I was
blah,
just
blah,
a guest on the show one day,
I was just
man.
a guest on the damn show. Right? I spent $20,000 on that. And by the way, it was like straight up Law and Order. I was on a stand, and I was explaining. Yeah, well, this client said you had to put his money inside real estate. Exhibit A. I looked at the form because I was explaining. My presentation was called the 4 Homes of Money. I explained this is first home of money is the banks, second home of money is stock market, third home of money real estate, fourth home of money insurance and annuities.
Oh, I like that.
Right?
I like that. I
Right?
like that.
And so I drew it on this yellow pad, and my goal every time I do that is for the prospect to ask for that yellow pad, to tear it off and give it to him.
Yep.
And he did, but he used that same document to sue me with, Exhibit A. So I said, so the judge goes, so explain to me this 4 Homes of Money. Right?
Oh, wow.
So by the
You
way,
on the witness stand recruiting.
I was straight on witness stand, bro. And I got a video of this on my YouTube channel. It's one of the most watched videos of 4 Homes of Money. And then, and so I told the client, Your Honor, I told the client, if you're going to put all your money inside real estate, that's a risky thing. I said, you should put some of your money in real estate and some of your money inside fixed and or index annuities. But he decided to put 100% of his money. But that's his deal. That's his money.
Yeah, he didn't force him to do it.
And I got 0 commission from it. See my bank statements? You subpoenaed everything, right? Okay, I get it. All right. Attorney, you have any more questions? Prosecution rests. Before you get off the stand, we need to revisit this 4 Homes of Money.
I need to see you in chambers.
Yeah. Straight up. And so anyway, make a long story short, verdict, not guilty.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yep.
Right? And so that's an example of me rushing into a decision, thinking I'm getting exposure, all the type of things. So now I've learned to be a little bit more proactive. A little bit, with the fancy word is due diligence, right?
There you
do a little
go.
due diligence.
Contingency of.
Shout out to Dr. Taylor Jacobs.
Yeah, and that was something that we learned a couple of weeks back, and I'll impart that on you. Yeah, I'm going to do this deal. Contingency of, you say who you say you are, right? You are who you say you are.
Right.
I'm going to do this deal. Contingency of, if this doesn't go against my credibility and my name, right?
What I stand for.
What I stand for. Yeah. I'm going to do this deal. Contingency of X, Y, Z. That was a game changer for me, bro.
Those guys that were the hosts of the show, all of them got slammed.
Yeah.
They're like
no doubt.
multi-million dollars of lawsuit, and they were barred from ever doing something like that in Illinois ever again.
So I want to pivot because this is a growth mindset show, Cuff.
Yes, sir.
When I say the term growth mindset, what's the first thing pops in your head?
Growth mindset, first thing that pops in my head is emptying a cup.
Explain.
Empty your cup.
Explain.
Yeah, you can't fill a cup if it's already full. Right?
Ooh.
And by the way, the more you grow, the bigger your cup is.
Okay.
So, like, for example, Ray Dalio is known as the Apple of hedge funds. You know, he runs Bridgewater. He just recently retired, stepped down. But Ray Dalio said, I go into every meeting thinking that I'm wrong. And I'm going to prove myself right, but because there might be something there
that I can pick up.
Correct. So I know my game. I've been there. I got experience, but there's always somebody there with something that I can learn from. Empty my cup, go in there, know what I know. Okay.
What does when you close off everything, you know, the kids are asleep or you've got quiet time, and you know, obviously I'm a fan of yours, so I know you don't have that much quote unquote downtime anymore, but when you catch 30, 45 minutes to yourself, like what does your proverbial lab look like? Because for us, it's, you know, when the kids are asleep or whatnot, and it's like, okay, you got peace and quiet to open a book, and whether you're reading or writing something down or like playing, like what does your proverbial lab look like?
Yeah, so that for me is 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. Mm-hmm. I'm smoking.
Right with us.
Yeah, right with us.
Good. And guess what I'm doing? On my patio.
Yes.
And I love Texas for this because I could do it in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Even though it's 40 degrees outside, I'm good with this, man, because in Chicago.
And all you need is that. All you need is that little,
correct.
yeah.
That's it. I'm warm, right? So I'm thinking about what went well throughout my day. Where's my wins? Where kind of improved? I'm thinking about social media posts for tomorrow. What's my theme for tomorrow? What's my day for tomorrow? So I'm planning my tomorrow the night before as I'm unwinding.
So I wanna graduate the conversation. We got this beautiful book here, Faith Made Millionaire. Mo, you kind of touched on it at the beginning of the show. The first word is faith, and Mo will tell you I'm all about faith. Mm-hmm. Like my tat in Japanese is faith. You know what I mean? What does faith mean to you?
Faith means that you're believing in something that is not there yet.
Yes, sir.
But it's just right around the corner.
Yes, sir.
And if you stop, you'll never experience that faith.
Yeah.
Because the opposite of faith is fear. Right? And so if you don't believe in that faith, then you believe more in the bigger monster, which is fear. And you'll never get anything done with fear.
That's good.
Right? Because every day, like I shared, because I lived across 2 horse tracks in Cicero. It was Sportsman's Park and Hawthorne Park in Chicago. In the Cicero neighborhood, former Al Capone territory, I was raised around Italians, Mexicanos. So there's Italian gangs, Mexican gangs, park boys, and all this stuff in my neighborhood. I cut class my senior year to go bet horses at the tracks. Right, my study hall was the track guide.
Different form of entrepreneurism.
Betting, gambling. And so
that's that short-term game.
Correct, short-term game. And the reason why I got hooked onto it, because my first ever bet, I won like $1,500. I'm like, I'm good at this. Coming over there, you just got there to hook me at 17 years old. But anyway, a father and son was walking to the track. His dad's a trainer. And son was asking, hey, Dad, who's racing today? He says, son, I got a horse named Fear, another horse today named Faith. Well, Dad, who's going to win? Son, the horse that's going to win today is the one I choose to feed.
Wow.
Right? So I'm feeding my faith, not fear. I'm going to starve my fear. And the best way to instill your faith is fellowship, conversations around the right people that are also feeding their faith. Now, you find out about that on, your typical neighborhood, barbecues and watching the games. And I remember I started maturing in this area of feeding my faith when we got invited to a Lakers game, and we're invited to the box. The whole entire game, my back was towards the game. Because I'm paying attention to everybody that's in that box. I'm networking, I'm growing, I'm learning, I'm studying. I had no clue what's going on with the game.
Right.
But that's where I realized those guys are living their dream. How come I'm not living mine? I need to feed my faith.
Yeah. So Faith Made Millionaire. What is the visionary?
Those are our listeners.
What are our listeners going to learn from this book?
It's a lot of my failures that I had on my come up to my first cash flow million. It was a lot of my steps that I took. It was my formula. It's embodied around faith, family, finances, fitness, and having fun. You gotta have fun in this thing, man. You gotta be jacked up. You gotta be excited. You know, sometimes I ask my guys.
Your 5 Fs.
5 Fs. Yeah, 5 Fs. I ask my guys, what are you fired up about, man? What are you excited? What's like, man? I got this deal. I got this deal. Forget the deals. What are you fired up about? What are you excited about? Man, nothing, bro. You're running a dry business. You're on fumes right now. You got to have something that enlarges your spirit. You got to have something that it just makes you want to, run through the wall.
What makes you get up in the morning?
What makes you get up in the morning, man?
That's so good. That's so good.
And so, for example, my first apartment in the Marine Corps was a $600 a month apartment I could barely afford, right? And I was just telling Mo here, I'm a new resident as of Tuesday in Frisco. Right.
See, Cuff, come on up, Cuff.
Another F.
Yeah,
Come on up, Cuff.
This another F.
Come on up, Cuff.
No, I got nothing against Frisco, but when you get to Oklahoma where you live, bro.
Whatever. That's a side conversation.
I got nothing against Frisco. I love Frisco. I was in Frisco today. That was part of the reason why I was a little bit late to the show.
Good Lord. So, you have this book, right? And anybody we talk to that's written a book, it's a process. And it's definitely you have the long-term vision, if you will. What was the inspiration like? What made you say, I want to put my failures on display for the public? Because at this point, like, you have a platform, you occupy a space, and not everyone is always forthcoming with like the ups and downs they experienced. Like, what made you want to do that? And then how did that process work for you?
And I want to double down on that too. That's a fantastic question. What made you want to put your fears on display? But what did you have to overcome to be able to put your fears on display?
Because there's so much riffraff. I'll answer that one first. There's so much riffraff that you hear from people. You see the chapter 35, but I want to know chapter 1.
Yeah.
What was that like? And sometimes people confuse people's chapter 35. Like, they think they're starting out. They think they're starting off at chapter 35. No, bro, you got to start at chapter 1. You got to start with an introduction. You got to start with a foreword.
Yeah.
A mentor. And that's who wrote my forwards, was my mentor, Patrick Bet-David. He started my mentor, and he said the biggest thing about Matt, coaching him in the last 7 years, I got more done with a mentor in the last 7 years than my first 14 years as an entrepreneur combined. I mean, my first 14 years just trying to do this by myself, selling insurance, myself, and I one-man operation. Probably my best year, $350 a year, cash flow, selling insurance, which is good, but $200,000, $250,000 was bent back towards marketing and lead generation and buying leads and dinner seminars, paying taxes, staff. I net $125, $150 at best. That's it. So I have to make $350 to bring home $150, right? So I asked myself, am I going to do this for another 10 years? The short answer was no. So I wanted to document my process, how I went from self-made to then thinking scale to team-made.
One more time. Say that again for the visionaries that may have listened in the back.
So I wanted to document my process to go from a one-man operation, self-made, to scaling it, which is now team-made. Because John Wood had said, a greatest basketball coach, right? UCLA. He said, if you want to do it fast, do it yourself.
Yes, sir.
But if you want to go
farther,
you build a team.
That's right.
So I had to go build a team.
Shout out to James and his Proverbs, because James has the African version of that. That's our tax man.
Awesome.
It's been, again, thank you to Ivan for helping put this together. This is great, and you and I obviously speak the same language on a lot of things. He hangs out some places I do too, Cuff. You ought to come up one day.
Ivan got a job with me. You want to know about this? I think everybody needs to know this. Ivan was a 19-year-old kid that DM'd me on an IG. He says, I'm a student up here at Columbia College studying film.
Okay.
And your IG profile seems like you're the type of guy that I need to hang around, and let me show you what I can do with my camera. Can I come up to your office and take some stills and send it back to you if you like it? Let's go from there. So he comes out to my office, and then he tells me, man, I no problem, ready to shoot. I said, how'd you get here? Where are you from? It was a little village in Chicago. It's all Mexicano territory. And says, how did you get here? We're in the burbs. He goes, I took 2 buses, 3 trains.
Come on now.
Get out of here.
Dedication.
Yeah, at 19 years old. By the way, he's originally from Dallas.
Really?
Yeah, he's originally from Dallas, but he's up in Chicago.
Chicago transplant.
Yeah, you're correct. And so he an hour later, so I Uber him back home. An hour later, he sends me the stills like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, this kid's on it. Good for him for being 19 years old and being on it. I bring him back for a couple of jobs here and there, a couple stills here, a couple of videos here. I had a current social media guy at the time, and then pandemic hits, right? And I said, why don't you come by and put this? I bought a little Lamborghini toy car for my kid. So
I'm sorry. Hold on. Like a toy car, not a real car.
Not a real car.
Okay. I wanted to make sure we were clear. Because, we talk to millionaires. They're like, I bought this toy. It's a Lamborghini.
And so, and this month, I think I made like $240, $250. So I did put a premise out there. So I took a picture of the Lambo logo of the toy car in the green painting around it, the green paint of the car. And I posted on IG, and I put the caption, "She's here."
Oh, wow.
She's here. Video at 6 p.m. Reveal at 6 p.m. But they don't know it's a toy car.
Yeah.
So I had Ivan that afternoon put together a video to kind of spoof it all. Yeah. Kind of parody it. Right?
Shout out to Ivan.
And so after he created that video, I said, man, you now have a job. You now have a job. So he's been with me since he was 19. He's 22 today, and he's back in Dallas.
I'm sure he's happy to be back in Dallas,
welcome
too.
Home, Ivan.
Yeah, welcome home, Ivan. You're doing a good job.
And by the way, he dropped out of college, avoided all that student loan debt because it was the ultimate outcome was he had a job. He got a job.
Listen, we can do a whole nother podcast.
You
know my sentiments on that. And I had a full ride scholarship to Vanderbilt, the Harvard of the South, right? Like, we can get into that at a different point.
Did you ball?
I did.
Oh,
yeah.
Is that Vanderbilt or is that Duke? Or is that like still a debate between your two schools?
There's no debate.
Okay. All right. Well, that's another conversation.
There's no debate. Real quickly, how can our visionaries, how can other supporters purchase Faith Made Millionaire?
It's all on Amazon. You look at Faith Made Millionaire on Amazon. It's a bestseller in multicultural. It's a bestseller in Christian stewardship. It's a bestseller in Christian business and personal finance.
Love it. Before we, is it time to land the plane?
It is.
Okay. Before we land the plane, I want to give you the opportunity to drop all of your social media handles and how any visionary can get a hold of you.
Yeah, so 7 Figure Squad on YouTube, 7 Figure Squad on IG. My personal brand is Money Smart Guy. So if you want to reach out to me personally, that's where you can DM me, and I handle that all. 7 Figure Squad is IG.
Like they're going to talk to you?
They're going to talk to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love it.
My guys monitor it, but I respond with my words.
We have reached the point of the show we call Landing the Plane as we wrap it up. It is brought to you by the good folks at Sagamore Spirit.
Nice.
Shout out to Tim, Kevin Plank, everybody out in Maryland who is part of this partnership. Visionaries, we don't have a product on the show unless we stand behind it. You can look at the bottle and tell we stand behind it for a reason.
Facts.
Thank you again to everybody at Sagamore Spirits. We appreciate it.
There are a few hard truths to whiskey that most brands don't like to admit. First, there's a lot of it. And second, despite its lore and romance, whiskey is often complex and intimidating. Is that high or low proof? Toasted or charred? Aged or finished? Straight or blended? Imported or American? Endless options, endless questions, endless confusion. But there is a whiskey out there that makes selecting it simple. An exceptional spirit made with local ingredients and committed to its communities. That's us. That's Sagamore Spirit. Sagamore Spirit has been and always will be more than just whiskey. Our work, your work, is greater than the sum of its parts. Keep the momentum moving. And one more thing. It's whiskey. Have fun with it.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
Say neat.
Okay. All right.
So it's going to put a little hair on your chest, but you're a Marine.
Get some.
You know what I'm saying? Hoorah.
Get some. Cheers, gents.
Yes.
Don't worry about me right now. TheVisionLab.
So, Matt, I want to ask you, what is your long-term vision for yourself?
Well, we have a decent start. We have 3,000 agents right now. We're going to get to 10,000 agents across the country. We got agents coast to coast.
By when?
2029.
2029, you're going to have 1,000 agents.
10,000.
10,000
agents.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, 10,000 agents, which probably puts us in the category of GOAT status. It's probably one of the best, and there can be an argument who did it better. It could have been Art, you talked about Primerica earlier. Could it be Art Williams? Could it be Hubert Humphrey? Could it be these guys? Because these guys are innovators of the insurance industry. So 10,000 agents, you're kind of like up in there in that conversation. There's not very many guys that's at that level of number of agents. And the best part is I'm only 49 years old.
It look good for 49.
My man, I appreciate that.
For real.
These guys.
I want to give you your flowers. No, 100.
Yeah. That's part of the Filipino DNA. And a shout out to my trainer, Milton, who keeps my knees and my ankles, because I left the military with 2 torn patella tendons.
Oh, wow.
And L4, L5 stenosis. I was in bad shape.
Wow.
Right. Like, if I show you pictures of me in 2016, 17, I was 180 pounds. I was like,
you're not that today.
Slim and trim. But
Build you back up.
But you know they say black don't crack. So.
Round don't frown.
I love it.
I love it.
So as we wrap it up, one of the questions we ask everybody on the show.
Okay.
There's you. There's a round table. There are 5 other seats at the table. You get to have any 5 people at the table. The only stipulation we put on it, you can't have God at your table, because who wouldn't want to talk to him?
Or Jesus.
Whatever religious deity you believe in,
Okay.
or whoever your favorite person out the good book is, you can't have him at the table.
It's 5.
Dead or alive.
Okay. So number 1, obviously be Jesus. Right.
You can't have him.
Oh, you can't have him.
Can't
Okay,
have
no
him. It's too easy.
deity. Okay, Abraham Lincoln.
Okay.
Abraham Lincoln would be number 1. Martin Luther King number 2. Number 3 would be Alexander the Great. Right.
Love history. Yes.
Yeah. Number 4 would be Lapu-Lapu, which is a Filipino warrior that murdered.
I'll do it for you, Mo. So we take a sip anytime we haven't heard a specific name.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No kidding. So he was the Filipino warrior that killed Ferdinand Magellan because he wanted independence from the Spanish. So a lot of people don't know that Filipinos were under Spanish slavery for 450 years. Long time. Yeah.
Wow.
It was only since 1901 where we became free of the Philippine-American War, where the Philippines got acquired by America. Right. Wow. So the Spanish took over. So we've really had our own identity since 1901 at best. Sheesh. And the Philippines is weird because there's 1,000 islands, and so we're under one, I guess, one ethnic group, but we're still very disjointed because there's 1,000 different languages.
I was going to say, how many different dialects and different practices? I mean, 1,000 islands. I mean, literally, like that's in theory 1,000 different groups of people.
Yeah, yeah.
Under one flag.
Under one flag. That's correct. Right. And my number 5 would be Milton Friedman. Talk about capitalism. This is I have a conversation about capitalism and what capitalism has done for me, free enterprise. Lots of times people have a misnomer about capitalism, but listen, I've got 12 life insurance policies. I've been in insurance business for 23 years. But life insurance, the policy, the product itself has not changed my life. What has changed my life is a kid like me with $500 in his pocket can build an $82 million company, can affect a lot of lives, can write a book, can retire his parents, both in-laws, my own parents, can move them from Chicago to McKinney, put them up in a senior living center where it's like a cruise ship on land. Mm-hmm. I always say it only takes one person in a family generation to change that generation forever.
Amen.
And so Milton Friedman, because of capitalism, his thoughts about capitalism, the way he articulates it, every time I hear his interview with Phil Donahue, these are old videos, but every time I listen to his video, it's like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. So those are my 5.
So I'm going to do things a little different on today's episode. I'm going to drop, 5 names. So Mo gave you the round table with 5 people. I'm going to drop 5 names at random. I want you to give me the first thought that comes to your head.
Okay.
Manny Pacquiao.
Like that. Badass.
Yeah. Oprah Winfrey.
You got one. She's a giver.
Okay. Donald Trump.
Oh. Boss. Feared. Respected. Hated.
Jay-Z.
Innovator. Godfather.
What am I at? 3, 4? What am I at?
Pacquiao, Trump, Oprah, Jay-Z. One more.
All right. JFK.
Ooh.
Don't ask what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country, which today's a Republican message,
Yeah.
not a Democrat message.
So I want to tap into the mindset, and you know, that exercise in itself kind of shows people your brain wavelength, right? Now I want to tap into you as an individual, okay? In case you didn't know, we do have a magical time machine here in the lab.
Great.
What advice would Matt be giving himself from 5 years ago? So you at your age today,
Oh, okay.
49?
I'm 49, so what I say 44?
So you're 44.
Uh-huh.
What advice, if you could look back in time, what advice would you tell 44-year-old Matt?
So 44-year-old Matt, where was I?
No. What would you today be telling that?
No,
dude?
but he's trying to figure out where he was so
Where
he can
was
talk
I
to himself.
at that point? Make sure you take care of your body, because your first wealth is your health. Could I be burning the midnight oil for too long? I would not eat right. I would not sleep right. I had gout. I don't know if you've ever heard that condition.
Really?
Oh yeah, it was bad.
I've had it before.
Oh
You look so healthy though.
well, I don't take gout medicine anymore because I turned that around.
So you
Yeah.
had some health sense that
Yeah.
you had to do. Okay.
Yeah. Take care of health. Because I had a lot of brain fog too. I was very hazy with my thoughts, slow with my decisions. So that had a lot to do with putting my health at the back burner. What I'd say is also the plan that you had, double down on it, because you're right. You're on it. You got the formula. Don't doubt yourself, man. You got it. Triple down.
Love it. So forgive us. We're gonna give you a little bit more gray.
Okay.
We're gonna make you 5 years older. Okay. So you're
These
54.
are good questions, man. This is very interesting.
We've done this once or twice. You're 54.
Uh-huh.
That version of Matt, he's looking back to you today as we turn the calendar in 2023. But he's looking back to you today and he's asking you, or he's telling you to do what? What advice is he giving you?
Get to know the governor of Texas. Get to know the policymakers. Get to know your senators. Get to know the Republicans, the Democrats. Because if you really want change, Matt, the seat that you're in right now with these policymakers is really going to create change, but it takes money to get there.
Oh, so you're gonna open something up. How do you get in with your state senator?
What's that?
How do you get in with your state
Here,
senator?
so here I'm working that strategy now. So whatever events they have, I'm gonna make a donation of $2,000. I'm gonna get on many of these guys running for tickets, because what I realized, and this is how I found out, because I did this with Trump. You put a donation and you're put on a short list. If it's more than just $50 or $100, if you put something with a comma on it, you're put on a short list. The finance managers of that campaign reaches out to you to make sure you're invited to everything, because if they figure you're a donor, you're going to donate to other things.
So I want to tap into that, Mo. You good with this?
Yeah, you go into somebody's CRM.
Yeah.
Correct.
So now you got a comma on there. You have the opportunity to speak to the governor of Texas,
Uh-huh.
right? Or Trump type. What are you saying?
Yeah. First thing I'm talking about is education. Why is education so broken? What's going on with patriotism in Texas that the rest of the country isn't catching? Why do people feel so more free in Texas? I mean, I'm feeling it right now coming from Chicago. I mean, I got COVID. I found out I had COVID in Texas. If I was in Illinois, it'd take me 2 weeks to find a, the rapid test.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In Texas, I found it right away in 5 different locations in less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So I'm asking, how can we get more resources to attract more entrepreneurs, to create more policies that, for example, the biggest fear that a lot of people have right now is not when I was in the Marine Corps, it was tanks and bombs and airplanes. A lot of people fear today cyber war. A lot of people today fear, what happened to the grid, the power grid. How do we fix that? Because if we can maintain strength and independence and protect that, and people feel safe, because if people continue to feel safe in a state or a city, people want to come here. They want to have their families here. They want to build their businesses here. People can thrive here if they feel safe.
Matt, it's been an honor, a pleasure, as a host of the TheVisionLab podcast. Mo, shout out to you making this happen.
Shout out to Ivan.
Shout out to Ivan. Like, yo, you really came with some bangers. I'm honored to have you on the show. Really am. Thank you so much. And remember, visionaries, each one of our guests that are dropping into the lab are dropping nuggets of wisdom. Y'all go back, listen to this episode, because I promise you, you're going to hear some nuggets of wisdom. Make sure that you apply them to your life.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ryan Mosley. He's Ryan Cuffey. Thank you again to our guest, Matt Sapaula. And happy holidays, everybody. We'll see you guys next week on another great episode of the TheVisionLab podcast.
Merry Christmas and blessings.